Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about the fortune teller. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I would venture to say that all girls who play Final Fantasy XIV have a similar experience with meeting guys socially in the game. The game is absolutely crawling with eligible men. You sure, OP? You are bound to meet some if you play long enough, depending on how open you are. There are opportunities for friendship, sex, and love in Final Fantasy XIV. And as a girl, you are outnumbered and are bound to, at some time, have more than one guy showing interest in you. Wow, what a start to a story. It's like, damn. Okay, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, yeah, maybe you could probably find those things, you know? It makes me apprehensive if more than one guy is interested in me because I have a history of failure in this scenario. In trying to choose one over the other, I always end up losing both guys in the process. So when a situation arises where more than one guy begins competing for my attention, I feel extra awkward and stupid, and I never know if I'm making the right decisions. Once upon a time in Final Fantasy XIV, I had an in-game husbando. His name was Raffae. Oh, Raffae, almost like cafe. Perfect. Raffae was a Marine IRL and frequently traveled for his job. We had a whirlwind romance in the game, starting out in PvP and ending up in a bonding ceremony with a walking parade to my house in Lavender Beds where we hosted a giant glamour contest. We liked to hang out, wearing beachwear because it was summer, standing close to each other in major cities. We put smarmy, lovey-dovey messages in our search info. We still did PvP together, finding it funny to dance or stand close to each other under the rafters of a bridge until other players called us out. We played together doing endgame content. I liked his DPS. He had big dick DPS. That was probably the thing I liked best about him. Right before Endwalker, Raffae just started to play less and less. You know what? I'm starting to think it's Rafe and not Raffae because the E doesn't have the little thing on it. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, OP. Okay, right before Endwalker, Rafe just started to play less and less. Since we did not live close IRL, the game was where we saw each other, where we embraced over and over, annoying everyone close enough to read the emotes, where we said hi and bye and I love you. So when he started playing less, I was getting really lonely. Right about this time, a new member joined our FC. Their name was Miko, and they seemed interesting. I noticed they were staying up all night playing. Just my kind of person, I thought. I didn't have any desire to be cheating on Rafe, but I am very social and I like to have a lot of friends. So I was friendly towards Miko. I laughed at them for staying up all night doing Praetorium for Moogle Tomes to buy the Inferno jacket. Although I admired it because I admire people who grind for things. I like going to weird events and things in the party finder sometimes, and I saw an ad up for a beach party in a cave on the beach somewhere. Miko was standing near me on a big road that stretched up from our Goblet FC house towards the Sultana apartments. I said to them, "Hey, you want to go check out this beach party with me?" Miko said, "Sure." We teleported out to the cave and people were using the Adamantoise mounts for lights, dancing underneath them. The sparks and flames from the spinning turtles were creating the light below for the dancers. It was pitch black dark otherwise. I immediately summoned my turtle mount too and became a light for a while. I don't know what Miko was doing. I was just doing my own thing. Later on, I ran into them dancing in the sand in the shadowy cave full of gyrating silhouettes. Pretty cool, huh? I said. Yeah, said Miko. I don't know how or when the whole friendship really took off and got intense exactly, but pretty soon, every time I would log on, Miko would be there and invite me to a party. I am not the biggest fan of being invited to a party the second you log on. It always feels to me like someone is claiming you before someone else can. I don't know. It was just kind of weird, but I wasn't going to complain. I wasn't getting attention and I had a friend, so why complain? So I would just join the party and Miko wanted to do anything. And I mean anything that I wanted to do. I was having a great time. I mean, who wouldn't be? It was just a friendship. We were not romantic, so I was not feeling guilty about Rafe. He wasn't around much. Why should I just be sitting around doing nothing? We did the entire Endwalker expansion pretty much together. Miko giving me rides when I didn't have the Aether Currents because they spent time grinding them out. Miko loved to give me rides. I love riding on other people's mounts. I don't think there's anything more relaxing than putting down the controller and letting someone else drive. Take a sip of tea. Take a draw of a vape. Ah, I love it. I made a ride pillion macro, so all I had to do was run under Miko's mount and press the macro, and I would be instantly on top of his mount with him. We were inseparable. Miko loved housing and would accompany me on my journeys out to visit venues and clubs to do some light RP and look at the housing. All of a sudden, Rafe started coming on the game again. Here it was, the dreaded feeling of awkwardness. Rafe and Miko were both always standing near me, and Miko always invited me to a party. So when Rafe would log on, I was always in a party with Miko. Rafe would come up and spam me with embrace again like he used to, but now I was a little annoyed. Now he comes around and makes things just weird and awkward. Now that I have another friend. But I felt guilty and obligated to, although I realized that these were my own choices I was making about how I was feeling. Then, Miko told me that Rafe had reached out to him and sent him some messages. Rafe told Miko, "Congratulations for replacing me," and that he felt that Miko had taken his spot. I was furious. Rafe didn't even know Miko. I hated that he just outright messaged my friend like that. I felt violated. How dare he act as if I am some property to be claimed? I was disappointed. Rafe knew about me. He knew that I didn't want to be owned, that I had been through trauma and abuse before. How could he just act like a controlling husband? I was thinking that Rafe was just so awkward and annoying now, that I might need to break up with him. I wanted to be free to do whatever the hell I wanted to do without feeling guilty or obligated. Miko was understanding and supportive through all of this. And one night we decided to go out to a club that had a tarot reader, a fortune teller. Okay, let's pause for a second. I feel kind of bad for Rafe. OP and Rafe are a couple in game or whatever, right? And he comes back on the game and sees he's not her guy in game anymore. It is what it is. Things have changed since he was gone. The venue was scaled down to a small space, and we sat in a tiny blue waiting room where we waited for the medium. Finally, it was my turn. All right, so OP is getting a fortune telling or a tarot reading in a RP venue. I've seen those actually. Those fortune telling stuff. I think to get a reading is like 50,000 gil last time I checked. And they were like, "Do you want a reading?" And I was like, "No, I'm good, thanks." I didn't want to blow 50k on a random reading for me. But it's cool. It is cool. If you're rich, do it. Like, sure. I knew just what I was going to ask the card reader. What should I do about Rafe? I was led into another small room. There was a glowing orb balancing on the table. Maybe a lamp of leaven floated up from the basement. Anyway, it was magical. The card reader took out a sparkling, spinning astrologian weapon and gracefully drew a card, twirling it above their head. "Have you had a reading before?" asked Minty T, the card reader. I replied, "I have, but not from you." "Ooh, perfect." They sheathed the weapon with a flourish. I continued, "I have a relationship crisis and I am wondering what I should do." Minty T gave me a sympathetic look and said, "Sorry to hear that. Let me shuffle some cards for you." "Thank you. That's very kind of you." The card reader spun her weapon out again, a circle of cards shining in the air above her fingers. "All right, I pulled 4 cards. It isn't the best news. Do you still want to hear it?" My heart dropped. "Yes," I said. "All right." The first card I pulled was 3 of Swords, which represents heartbreak, backstabbing, or betrayal. This is your relationship's current state, I gather. I also pulled the 7 of Wands. This represents the need to fall away from others, to focus on yourself. Unfortunately, I am taking this as a meaning it might be time to step away. I pulled the 6 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles as well. I swallowed back the lump in my throat. I wasn't really looking forward to what they were about to say next, but I knew what was coming and I was ready to hear it. The 6 of Cups is a card of reconnecting with your past self. It seems like it's time to spend some time alone and heal from this experience. The 9 of Pentacles is a card meaning a payoff from hard work. This tells me that once you've stepped away and focused on yourself, you'll feel a lot better and rejuvenated. I walked out of the reading in kind of a daze. I gave it a little more thought and then I called up Rafe and told him I wanted to break up. He cried and pleaded with me. "No, I can be better," he whined. I stayed strong though, and even though I am never confident in my decisions about relationships, I ended the call without giving in to him. I hope that this reading didn't change what the OP decided to do, but if it did, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure the OP wanted to do it anyways, right? We were still married in the game, and I didn't think a whole lot of it. I was sentimental about it and I had not gone and turned in the ring. Valentine's Day was coming up and Miko all of a sudden, out of the blue, said that he wanted to get bonded. I was a little anxious about it. I didn't really want to get bonded again so soon, but I underestimated how much it meant to Miko, I guess. He did sound disappointed when I asked for a little more time. I was exerting some boundaries for myself. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Miko was getting more and more insistent as Valentine's Day approached, saying he wanted to marry his best friend on that day. I kept stalling for some time as I just didn't want to feel rushed into anything. Valentine's Day came and went, and 4 days later, it was my birthday. I had a big party at my house, and I didn't invite Rafe. A bunch of my other friends were there, and we were all in voice. Miko showed up, but really late. It was odd that he had not been around all day, it being my birthday and everything. I asked where he had been, and he said he had been hanging out in Limsa with some new friends. I was interested to see that he brought his friends with him to the party, and he and one of the girls got in the voice chat. I was drinking wine and feeling pretty drunk by this point. I had been playing a bunch of music on Mi6 and having a pretty good time. So Mi6 is the Discord bot where you can play music and stuff. We were playing strip death roll in a big circle, taking turns rolling /random until someone hit 1 out of 2 and the loser had to take off a piece of gear. This is strip poker or something, but FF14 style. I've never heard of that. That's hilarious. This girl, her name was Lucy, was in voice with Miko, and through my drunken haze, I heard how they were talking to each other. How she was laughing so prettily at what he would say, and I could nearly hear him blushing in pleasure through my headphones. I suddenly, in a nasty rush of jealousy, left the voice chat and told everyone I was going to bed. I was drunk and had just broken up with Rafe, and now Miko had a fun new girl at my birthday party who made me feel complicated and boring and no fun anymore. Oh, I don't know what to say, but yikes. Complicated relationships in the game. The next day, I woke up with a bad hangover and logged on late in the morning. My mail alert chimed. I thought it was probably a gift message from one of my friends from my birthday party the night before. I went on my Moogle mailbox and opened it. The letter was from Miko. It was just an invitation, no message. An invitation to his bonding ceremony, sent at 5 a.m. So basically, Miko and Lucy, I presumed, had decided to get bonded that night, the night of my birthday, and had gone and done all the quests and planned their ceremony already, and he had not told me about it. So hearing it this way hit me harder than I thought it would. I almost felt like he did it to hurt me. I felt like I was going to throw up. Damn, how does one guy be like, hey, I want to marry you in this game, and then just like dips out and marries someone else? I mean, one could be like, it's just a game, right? So there's a side of like, an argument would be like, it's just a game, don't take it personally. The other side would be like, I take that shit personally because they meant something to me. So depends who you are in this situation, right? And how you take it. I tended my plants and then looked at the FC actions and log and checked to see who was online. I noticed then that Miko had left the FC. I checked my friends list. He had made his own FC and was the leader of it. And it was called Milky Boobies with the tag Udder. 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 That's pretty funny. And the slogan was, we like dudes kissing dudes. What the hell? I mean, you do you, bro. I was feeling pretty sad though. I didn't understand what was going on with Miko and Milky Boobies and dudes kissing dudes now. But I knew one thing. He had found someone else. Someone who was probably giving him sex. Sex. Online. I asked him and he told me it was true. That Lucy had taught him how to ERP and that they RP'd sex in the game. And mutually... I can't believe I'm about to read this. And mutually masturbated while talking on the phone. Now, he was hooked on her. He was completely in love. I am embarrassed. Everything seemed to be going swimmingly now for Miko. He had an in-game wife now and a girlfriend that he could jack off with. Damn, this OP is... This OP just telling it how it is. All was right with the world for him, so I was surprised to get a message from him about a month later. Oh my god, please forgive me. I miss you so much. Everything is terrible. What? I said. Tell me what's going on. He told me that Lucy had an IRL boyfriend that she was hiding her relationship with Miko from. That he felt like they would never meet in real life, that she had all these issues, and that he was just miserable. Oh, so Lucy had a boyfriend, IRL boyfriend this whole time, and Miko just found out? He asked for my advice, and I gave it, that he should just get rid of the girl. I encouraged him to come back to the FC that I was in, and that I was still there for him. I had some smug satisfaction that this wasn't working out for him. And I also missed him being around. He came back to the FC and bought his room again. So I thought, well, I might have my friend back now. The next day, Miko left the FC again. He had been having an awful time, lying in a pool of fire without Lucy, and couldn't bear to be without her. He told me he was sorry, that he was weak, and he couldn't quit her. He just couldn't. I understood. I really did. But I thought maybe we could all be friends. I wouldn't mind. But Miko told me that he told Lucy everything that we talked about. He had told her that I had encouraged him to leave her. And now she really, really hated me. So Miko had come running to me with his problems, baited me into saying unkind things in regard to Lucy, and then turned right around and told her what I had said. Oof. That's messy. Why? Oh my god. Why would Miko do that? He told me he was sorry, that he had ruined everything. I had to agree, because now, as long as he was still with her, he couldn't be my friend. I turned to Rafe now. Ah, Rafe. Good old Rafe. Just back on Rafe now. I was feeling just put through the ringer from all of this. He was waiting with open arms for me and listened sympathetically, of course, since he hated Miko. We got back together and dated for another year. He broke up with me this year, the day before Valentine's Day, stating that we had just drifted apart and he just didn't feel like what he was doing was genuine anymore. This time, I wasn't sentimental. I ran to the chapel and turned in my ring and turned the little heart off of Rafe's name in my friends list. I evicted him from my house and left his house as a tenant. Quit our private link shells, and then I changed my name. I was thankful that the game made it so easy for me to reinvent myself. So you see, I should have listened to the card reader and spent time reconnecting with my past self instead of messing around with these silly men. I can't help it sometimes. I love all the male character models in this game. The handsome and dashing Hearers, the mischievous Mikotes whose faces and ears wiggle make my heart skip a beat, and tall and lanky Elizin and Aura, who make me feel so petite and feminine. I even like a cuddly muscly Ro, or yes, even have a weakness for a burly Barry Hrothgar. Rawr. Don't worry about me. I somehow find comfort in the game when I find myself alone. Sometimes it just feels good to stand in a frozen pond in Coerthus and feel the snow hit my face. The game always seems to have the right musical accompaniment for when I am feeling melancholy. There is hope. I may not have a boyfriend anymore, but I have Final Fantasy XIV. The end. This is when someone takes Final Fantasy XIV way too seriously. I mean, to each their own. Like, it's interesting to hear that. Maybe they really like immerse themselves somehow into the game and act as one with their character. That person lived in Final Fantasy XIV. They lived. Yeah, they lived in the game. Teleport to Gridania and touch some grass. I want what OP's having. I mean, it sounds like OP is a role-playing person. I think our peers in the game are kind of like this a bit. Taking things that happen to their character almost like it's real life. But I also think they're very good at writing a good story. So thank you, OP, for that story. She also swam in the vast oceans of the Ruby Sea. It's real life, though. What do you mean? Maybe what the card reader meant to say was it's time to put the game down for a little. Look at your past self. Yeah, look at your past self before you played Final Fantasy XIV and got immersed in this world. I hope OP is doing well and this experience has helped them grow. Oh, that's a nice message, Lollipop. They are right. The characters in this game are all very pretty, but this actually reminds me of this other story that I sort of skim read a little bit. And the OP was basically saying they had dreams of this one character in the game that they were talking to. They don't even know what they look like IRL or anything, but they were dreaming of the guy's character. You're like dreaming of being inside the game now. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra. And a big thank you to my kind members who support my YouTube content.